Misty, would you call the roll, please?
David Burris. Wes Grimes.
Present.
J.R. Huddleston.
Here.
Deborah Johnston.
Here.
Bill Lukens.
Here.
Larry Pratt.
Here.
Craig Romey.
Present.
Caitlin Turner.
Here.
Thank you.
Would you join me in the pledge?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remind everybody about conflict of interest. If anything comes up on the agenda that you feel uncomfortable voting on, please let the council know before the votes. Need a motion to approve the agenda with one change. The 2020 Loss Control Safety Achievement Award. Lori isn't able to join us tonight to receive that award. Plus, we haven't got the complete packet from the state yet. So I'd like to remove that from the agenda, and we'll add it back in when Lori can join us and we get our complete packet from the state.
I make a motion to approve the agenda deferring the 2020 Loss Control Safety Achievement Award to a later date. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Need a motion to approve the minutes from the October 5th council meeting, please?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the October 5th council meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Need a motion to approve the bills in between, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills in between for $163,000, $232.93.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Need a motion for the current claims, please.
Make a motion to approve current claims for $56,401.67.
Second motion.
We're all anxious tonight. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Do we have any communications from the public? All right. We'll move on to the 2020 Bridge Inspection Report of Rose Engineering. I'm going to provide the council with a presentation on the condition of the two bridges.
You gonna read this to us?
Word by word, right? All right. Yeah, I am Doug Wessel with Rose Engineering. Oops, sorry about that. First of all, I'd like to thank you guys for letting us provide us our services for your bridge needs, both the bridge inspections and the bridge designs. I also want to congratulate both the council and the staff here. You guys are very proactive in your bridges. I mean, you got one under construction already, and your other one, you just got a preliminary engineering grant approved in August to do the hydraulics, and that's the first step towards replacement on that. So you guys are, you're moving to have two very nice structures in the very near future. So just wanted to congratulate on that. So first of all, with only two structures, we're not going to go through those reports. It's my understanding those were sent to you, whatever they are, 20, 24 pages long. I'm just going to kind of more give you a little bit of a summary. Okay. First bridge I want to talk to you about is structure number 24-290-029, and that is on Minnetonka Avenue. Basically, this structure was built in 1934, so that makes it 86 years old. It is getting towards the end of its life expectancy, and it's starting to show its age. It does have quite a bit of cracking, spalling, and effervescence. That's the white stuff that drips down the bottom of the deck. Okay? And also, it's been covered with a bituminous overlay. Now, what that is, that's an asphalt overlay. That was a very common thing to do back in the 80s and early 90s. because as you were overlaying your road, the paver didn't want to stop and try to feather that down, so they just paved right over the bridge. Well, what we found out through experience is then the water goes through that bituminous, then sits on the deck. It can't evaporate, and so it actually accelerates the decomposition of that deck. So you kind of say, yeah, once you put that on there, you kind of give it a kiss of death, because it's going to happen quickly. The girders, they look in pretty good shape. There is some minor amount of section loss. They have some paint, and because of that minor amount of section loss, when we reanalyzed the bridge, the allowable loads did drop just a little bit. Right now it is currently posted at 17 tons, 25 tons, and 30 tons. That is the old nomenclature for a Type 3 truck, 3S2, and 3-2 truck. Well, a couple years ago, the state changed it because there were some people that had confusions over exactly where they fell into that. So now they have a sign. Basically, you load rate it for a single unit and a combination. So a single unit is just however long your single truck is, and a combination is anything that has a hitch to it. So that's what it is. And our recommendation of that is for a single unit was 16, combination is 23. Okay, so now by state statute, this is the day that you are informed of that. So you have 30 days to get those new signs up. Okay? Just wanted to tell you, you have 30 days. So, so besides that, like I said, this one, you guys have already been awarded a preliminary engineering grant, which is hydraulics, in August. We have not yet seen the agreements through the state. Have you seen it? Okay.
Yeah.
I know last year it took them we didn't see them until the end of October. So hopefully we'll see them in the next couple weeks. So then we'll get that going on. And if you guys are curious, the steps to that is, once we get that, then we do the hydraulics. And we'll have our preliminary hydraulics. It's typically due in March or April. We send that to the state. They then review it, and then we have what we call a TS&L inspection, type, size, and location, where you bring in the representatives from the community, the engineer, and the state. And they look at, okay, what is the best type of structure to put in here? Then after that goes on, then if you so choose to pursue a replacement grant, that would be the next step after that. Okay? Does anybody have any questions on that? So really, if you're going on and you are awarded a grant, you could potentially see a new bridge in 4 years. That's how long the system will take.
What is the life expectancy of a bridge?
Life expectancy, according to the AASHTO model, is 75 years. Now, there are some older ones out there, and there are some younger ones that should be replaced out there. So, but that's the life expectancy.
So we got our money's worth out of the minute.
That's your money's worth out of it. Yep. So I guess, is there any questions on that particular bridge?
So will this have any problems getting through that 4-year span?
I don't think so. It's showing some deterioration, but we haven't seen it really accelerate yet. Typically in a bridge, once you start seeing it, it will go exponentially, but we haven't got to that. There wasn't much difference between this last 2-year cycle, so I don't expect there to be too much more in the next 2 years.
Thank you.
Now, one of the, I guess, maybe frustrating points we had with the Jennings Avenue bridge replacement is initially we thought it was going to be able to be a single span replacement, and then I think it was when the Corps of Engineers criteria came through versus the Fema criteria, we had to go to a double span. And I see on your notes here, the Jennings Avenue was originally a double span bridge.
Yeah, we inspected the original bridge in April.
Yeah.
So,
is there any chance that Dakota would have to come back as a double span versus a single span?
that bridge is, I believe, 64 feet long. I believe is what the mini Dakota one is, so no, that would be definitely a sales grant.
Okay, the cost should be less than,
You don't have to do that center bend. Yep.
okay, thank you.
Okay, any other one on the mini Dakota?
Yeah, when you're talking about the 4 years, there could be 4 years before that, new construction would start.
Yep.
What we found with the Jennings Bridge is that the first period when we applied for the grant, we didn't qualify, we didn't have enough points. And it wasn't until they realized that the fire trucks needed to get out with the Jennings Bridge gone, and that helped us get enough points to get the grant. If we don't qualify early on for the grant and we go beyond the 4 years, if we're into 6, 7 years before we are eligible for a grant, to Deborah's point, does that change the concern? From 4 years we're okay to 6, 7 years, maybe it's getting a little iffy?
Well, unfortunately, I can't see in the future. I can't see how fast it's going to degrade. But you're right. I guess going back to your point about being selected, right now this bridge scored 30 points in the big score. Okay. Last year, the lowest point total that it took was 46 points. So for a bridge replacement, you wouldn't be eligible there. So now you're going to have to look at some other things, whether go a bid ready, which basically you hire a consultant to design the plans already, so when you submit it, that's worth another 10 points. Then you can also look at kicking in more money than the 20%.
This hydraulic study gets us more points too, right?
No.
Oh, this
No.
step doesn't gain us?
No, it doesn't get you any points. So when we get to that point, and you decide, hey, let's go after this, I would be more than happy to come down and talk to you guys. Okay, this is where your score now. This is, and unfortunately, we don't know what it's going to take the next year because it all depends on who all applies for the bridges, how big some of the bridges are that suck up some of the money. And so that, that point total is kind of a moving target. All I can tell you what it was last year.
Yeah. And when you talk about the construction ready, that was the other thing, one of the other things that we did to up our point total is looking at what you just said, here's the minimum number that qualified for the big improvement grants in that current year, so we need to at least get to that number a little higher. And the construction ready helped get us there, along with the state recognizing that we needed an emergency access for our fire department. So you walk us through that. And,
oh yeah, I'd be more than happy to do that.
all right, thank you.
Yep. Any other on the mini Dakota? Okay. Next one, Jenny had, was just going to be real easy because our bridge inspectors came in April, and so the original bridge was still there. So they did an inspection. Since then, the contractor has moved in, and that bridge is no longer there. So no reason to go through that inspection report. One thing I can tell you is I talked to our field representative down there, Jamie Van Zee, and he said that the contractor has still informed him that he expects to be completed by Thanksgiving. So that's what his schedule is. Now, that's always weather dependent, but.
Since I haven't been here long enough, I'm not aware. Can you say anything to the other bridges in town, what their schedule is, or does anyone know?
Right now, as far as under NDIS system, those are the only two in the city of Hot Springs. Now, if you have other bridges, maybe they're shorter than 20 feet, so they don't actually qualify as a bridge, or maybe they're on a state highway, which the state is the owner.
Oh, okay, that's probably the issue. Yeah, that would be both issues.
So the bridge on the bypass or Indianapolis or whatever, that's on a state highway, so that doesn't count.
And the one by the Braun is on the state highway.
Yeah, and the dip bridge doesn't count?
We don't think it's over 20 feet. I was just telling him to go out this way so that he could see it, but he wasn't aware of that one.
Yeah, you have to have 20 foot clear in there to qualify as a bridge.
It's more than 20 feet, the dip bridge is more than 20 feet.
Shallow water crossings,
Shallow.
culverts.
Yeah.
Well, if it's more than 20 feet, then it should be classified as a structure. Maybe you can have somebody go out there and take actual measurements and send it to me, and I can actually give you a for sure decision on that.
And then there's the one, what's the street that's across from Taco John's by past the greenhouse?
Joplin.
Is that Joplin? There's a bridge on that street too.
Wes, that probably falls into the same culvert category as,
Shallow water, culvert, humpback bridge.
Well, like I said, if you guys could have somebody measure that up for me, I would sure be able to take a look at it and tell you for sure if it qualifies as a structure.
If we're going to do that, I'd recommend we take photos to send you as well, so you know.
Problem is, those are underwater, so you can't, unless you're willing to crawl inside those culverts, you're not gonna get a very good picture.
Well, all I really need is measurements. I mean, are they CMP pipes? Is that what they are?
Excuse me?
Corrugated metal pipes, that's what they are.
I believe
I
it's,
believe they are.
they're metal pipe with just a concrete surface over the top.
Okay, and you have a series of them?
Yep.
Okay. So what
There's
the
only
criteria?
two, I think, for 3 on 1, 2 on 1.
Two on the one down by the sewer plant.
When you leave here, if you drive out,
What's the diameter of those pipes?
probably 36.
3 feet? Okay, so if you have three 33-inch pipes, that's only 9 feet. 3 foot times 3 pipes, that's only 9 feet.
No, they're 36 in diameter by about 24 feet long.
Oh yeah, but in the direction that you're driving on the roadway, there's only 3 36-inch diameter pipes. That'll not be a structure. Because that combined length has to be 20 feet.
Yeah, I don't think they're bricks, but I'm not an engineer, I don't. And they're not in that bad shape, I know that, so I mean, I don't know. It's a moot point.
Yeah, like I said, but if you want to have somebody measure them up, I definitely would be able to tell you for sure. Okay, anybody have any other questions on, I guess, anything what we covered?
Thank you guys.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'm supposed to take this off.
Yeah, just so fresh.
That's a free gift from the city.
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, I'll give that to John.
All right, that takes us to personnel action. Can I get a motion to approve personnel actions A through E?
I'll make a motion to approve personnel action items A through E.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Brings us to committee reports. Admin and Finance, Caitlin?
Our next meeting is November 2nd at 1 p.m. at City Hall.
Thank you. Airport Advisory, Bill?
Next meeting is Thursday, October 29th, 8 a.m. at the airport.
Thank you. Custer Fall River Waste Management, Larry?
Next meeting will be November 12th at 7 p.m. at the Mueller Center.
Thank you. Downtown Historic Preservation, Deborah?
Next meeting will be November 4th at 5 p.m. at the library.
Thank you. Evidence Pledge Advisory, Larry?
I got 3 pages. The meeting started at 12 noon. There was an open discussion on resuming classes and reopening the health club. 2 individuals from the public were present at the meeting and voiced their concerns. Opening the steam room and sauna were discussed. Visitors' complaints about the pool being too cold when they got out, setting up areas where heat would help, but still being able to follow COVID guidelines. No solution was found, still discussing. Steam room, sauna will remain closed. Hot tub will reopen once community spread has been abated, but will be limited to 15 minutes per usage, with 1 person or family group per tub. Discussion on resuming classes with 12 max, limit size to 10 people, enforced social distancing. Cleaning will be done after every class. Zumba Go classes will be reevaluated for January 1st, 2021. Spinning classes will resume with social distancing between bikes. Birthday parties are postponed until further discussion in November. Guest winter season pass to stay limitations will be removed. Thoughts on committee position, reach out to the superintendent at schools. School rep suggested help still needed, lifeguard and janitor. October activities, senior Thursdays 55 plus, $3 to enter. Fun winter Friday youth 17 and under, $3 to enter. Swim team start still unknown. And financial report in April was 82,000, May 127,000, June 55,000, August was 14,000, September was 12,000. There's a $200 bonus to City Hall, well deserved. It was for the lifeguards. It was well deserved. It was a brutal summer. There was a member that was abusive, verbally aggressive behavior toward the staff. I believe it has been handled at this time. COVID cleaning will continue as noted on phase 2 protocol. Cleaning will be noon to 1 p.m. on weekdays, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturdays for sanitizing. Meeting was adjourned. Next meeting will be November 12th, noon at the Plunge.
Any questions for Larry? Thank you, Larry.
Yes, sir.
Parks, Recreation, Beautification, and Cultural Development. Wes?
Yeah, we had a meeting on Wednesday, October 7th. Some of the topics were floodlights at the baseball field. The fire department took their bucket truck up there and they got one of the lights down. And I believe we're working to get some new bolts to replace those. The tennis court backboard, Kathy basically got them sanded, painted, and looking pretty good. We had some hooligans up at Butler Park, and I guess they've gotten pretty much most of the fences straightened out. Most of the damage is cleaned up, and I guess we're waiting for prosecution to see, I guess, if we're going to get reimbursed for that or not. Then talking about the spring box again out in Chautauqua, and maybe after the guys get done with some street work and stuff, they might get on that and try to get that taken care of. We had some issues with our wooden equipment out at the School Street Park, so we're kind of, hopefully we can maybe next year keep that money put together. We can maybe get some more playground equipment. We got a quote from Big C, I believe it is, sign company, and they're going to fix the C, I believe it's a C, or G, down at the sign down at Kidney Springs. We thought that the channel work was going to begin the first of the week. I don't know what happened with that situation.
Pumpkin Festival, the pumpkin sales put them back another week.
Pumpkin sales did? What did that have to do with the river?
Because they couldn't get in, they would have to drive over the pumpkins to get to the river.
I see. Okay. Depot, we're going to get it winterized up. We're going to hopefully next year, if we get something put together, we're going to try to do some sprinklers down there as well, maybe piggyback off of the bid for the Brookside Park. That Brookside Park sprinkler system, we have decided basically maybe push that back till spring. We're going to try to earmark some money. And hopefully it'll be there come springtime so we can move forward with this project, because our guys got so far behind, they can't get the project done. And in discussing this whole deal, we have decided to basically have someone put an engineering kind of I guess a plan together for this irrigation system, so that way maybe there'll be some as-builts and some actual proper, I guess, design plans, so when we go out for an RFP, people bidding can actually have something to actually bid off of, instead of just kind of shooting from the hip. The Mueller Dog Park, we've got to come together on that deal. People that say they want to donate the money, we really need them to come in and talk to us and either try to get this thing moving forward or something. Other than that, I guess I can't remember too much more. Anybody else remembers? Other than that, had a pretty good meeting. Next meeting will be the first Wednesday, November, at 3 o'clock.
I'd just like to add a few comments on the sprinkler systems that Wes has been talking about down at Brookside. There is money in the parks budget to get that done this year, but Wes was talking about the bids that had come in. There's a question about when the warranty starts. If we did the work this year, would the warranty start after the installation of the system, or would it start upon first pressurizing of the system in the spring? If it were to start after the installation of the equipment, and we don't start it up until April or whatever, we've lost 5 to 6 months of a 1-year warranty if that's what we end up with. So there's a lot of discussion about slowing the process down, giving Wes an opportunity to go out and get some more detailed requests for proposals, and leave the money that's in the parks there for the rest of the year. It would go back to the general fund, so it would be available next year. So what we would be looking for is a recognition and a commitment from you folks that because it's not budgeted in the 2021 budget, but it would be available because it goes back from this year, that when he comes back and asks you folks to make that special appropriation for the sprinkler systems, that you folks will be fully on board with doing that. It's just passing the money, keeping the money there until 2021, then it would be available for him to spend on the Brookside and up at the train depot. Spent a lot of time talking about that. And again, the request would be making a commitment that when he comes back and asks for the money for the sprinkler systems, that everybody's on board with that. That's our hope, that's our expectation, and that will be the request when we come back to it. Any other questions?
vote for that if you bought me lunch.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I actually got one more thing to add. I was on the phone with Ms. Wittenberg for about 45 minutes today. I wanted on the next agenda to put this thing to a vote. She is willing to do whatever we want her to do for this memorial plaque. We give her size, she'll stick with it, she'll do whatever it takes, and I feel we owe this to her. We've been kind of screwing her around for about 3 months, and for a simple plaque, I really think we need to move forward. It's the right thing to do, because the people that knew her dad knew that he was very compassionate about the tennis courts. I mean, so I would like to see it on the next agenda. Please.
I thought it was going to be on this agenda.
I don't know.
I took it off.
Oh.
There's clarification on what we're actually putting on there. Anything or decisive. We want to have an open discussion about that maybe prior to voting, or we want to recommend.
We can at the next meeting.
Anything else for Wes? Thank you, Wes.
Thank you.
Planning and zoning, Caitlin?
Our meeting is this Wednesday, October 21st at 7 p.m. at City Hall.
Thank you. Public safety?
Bill? Public safety will meet this Wednesday, the 21st, 1 p.m. at City Hall.
Thank you. Public Works, Craig?
My next meeting, sorry. Jennings Bridge is on schedule. We talked about that. Talked about the Walsh Oak building, about the bids. Nothing's certain yet. We had a meeting about that a couple days ago. When was it? a couple days ago with the state. Brush pile, we got permission to make 2 burns, am I correct? Already burned. As soon as the weather's permitted, like moisture, and that's what I understand, that's what all the pods, the items in the pods, the rocks and stuff, the street will remove all them and store them someplace. I don't know where they can put them.
They're gonna put them at the city shop.
City shop. Valley View Drive. I guess there's no money for that, so we're kind of wondering what we're gonna do there. We talked to Billy and he don't know, and we don't know. We talked about maybe the county or the state having some used culverts we could use. Just got to get hold of them and see. The patching will start for the streets and the alley. We'll start October 20th.
More.
Equipment, the rock hammer backhoe's repaired. I guess it's back. Demo and spring box, that's, I don't know why I have that on here. Wes already had talked about that. Alley maintenance, find spots in the shrubs and the trees. We're working on getting a list of where the problem areas are so the street department could go and cut down the limbs and stuff. Additional items to damage Butler Park. Wes already talked about that too. Okay. Excuse me. The sewer up at Lincoln Avenue. We talked about that, and Tracy said they got roots out of the pipe, and they cambered both ways and couldn't find any more obstructions in the pipe. So what they plan on doing is every month or two, check it out, run the root auger through them, make sure there ain't nothing blocking them. Our sludge that we get from the MRF, we was taking it out to the landfill, and we can no longer do that. So we was going to try to take it to Edgemont, and we can't do that either. So now we have to start hauling it to Rapid. I suggested them using the side dump, so it don't take so many trips to haul the sludge up with. The SBI, loss control response, working on it. The FEMA hazard grants, 2 emergency generators. We're looking at 2 emergency generators. The MRF property invoice, working on a better idea on it. $100 a minute, what is that? What are we talking about that? The MFV property updated.
Mobile food vendor, or mobile vendors.
I forgot what that was. Excuse me, folks. We're working on getting a better idea of that, whether we're going to upgrade it for next year, put more electricity in there, water spigots, make it more accessible, I guess, so people don't drive up in there and stuff. Ordinance revision. Items requested in the 2018 IBC and IRC and fire code. Guess we really didn't talk about that. Nuisance property, Almond and Summit intersection, 5th Street, working on it. Building permits up 20% or more. I guess last year, you didn't really say. Armory building, we taking bids and stuff on that. Heavy construction, DOT, Rich Soccer, talked about having it in front of the plunge with the state, piggybacking off the state. We don't know if it'll work or not. To put concrete in front of the plunge, tear up that street. The Far River Canal improvement part, again, 1013. Garden Street plant chip seal, it's not gonna happen this year. Sorry. John? Scrap steel being taken care of. Ace Steel is hauling it off.
Pacific Steel.
Pacific Steel. I knew it was one of those steel companies. But some of it, we might get some money back out of it. We don't know yet. Sanitation issues, we're working on it. Resident Catholican 17-foot land swap. We're working on that too. We don't know, we have to do a survey or what we have to do.
Needs to be surveyed.
Okay, I guess that's it. Next meeting, October 27th.
Any questions for Craig? Thank you, Craig. Southern Hills Economic Development, JR.
We have not had a meeting since we met 2 weeks ago, or right around 2 weeks ago. So I have no report for this meeting.
All right, thank you. Southern Hills Golf Course Advisory Committee. Kathy had reported that rounds this year are up by 3,000. That's significant, that's huge. The membership rounds increased from 1,300, increased by 1,300 from 2019. Boys State Golf Tournaments brought in 350 to 400 additional rounds. And they received nothing but compliments on the course. The clubhouse will close October 31st. Jason has already begun aeration of the greens. Aeration of the fairways will occur on and off for the rest of the fall season. Going to be applying the final fertilizer applications this month. Hope to blow out the irrigation system in November. They started housekeeping around the shop, the maintenance shops out there. The big topic for the advisory, golf course advisory, is a cart path on hole number 12. It's deteriorating severely and is in need of replacement. The discussion is about replacing it in place or actually moving the cart path to the left side of that hole. The master plan has the the path being relocated to the left side of the hole. Whichever way they go is going to cost something. They had a fundraiser for Don Gannon. Don was a longtime golfer at the course, and they raised some money from there. What I've asked them to do is to come up with some hard figures, what it would cost to replace the cart path in place, move it to the left, and get that information so we can get in front of council and see what the cost would be if it exceeds the money that they've generated from the fundraiser. The fundraiser was specifically for replacing the cart path. That's something that was important to Dawn. So that was the reason they had the fundraiser. So once we get that information, then we can get that in front of council and see what you're supportive of. And the next Golf Course Advisory Committee meeting will be the first Monday of October, City Hall at 5 o'clock. So that takes us to ordinances. Ordinance number A. This one is exciting. It's the first reading of ordinance 1219, revising Title 7, Traffic Code, Chapter 70. Can I get a motion on that one, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 1219, revising title. Thank you. Title 7, Traffic Code Chapter 70, Traffic Regulations 70, .08, and Chapter 71 bicycles and skateboards, 7103A 1 and 2, and 7104J 1 and 2, and 71.05.
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, I got a little.
All right.
Parking of oversized vehicles. So basically, it is illegal for a man or woman that drives a truck to park their truck in front of their house overnight, for them to come home and basically put some clothes in there or clean their truck out or anything. I can't believe we're so heavy-handed that we won't allow someone to park at least overnight with a semi. If they have family here or anything else. I mean, we're gonna let these campers park basically unlimited. No, where did it change? What did it change to? I didn't have time to read through this.
3 weeks.
3 weeks? Well, I have a problem with if you can't park a truck overnight. I mean, most towns at least let someone park for a couple of days. So, I guess that's what I had.
Anything else, Wes?
Nope.
Anybody else?
Can I just point out, I just noticed that the copies were not made in color for you. Typically, we would put anything in red that's new language and wasn't in the existing ordinance. So starting on page 2 at the very top, that section A, all the way through section E should be red, that's all new. F as a number is new, but the parking in alleys, all the way through to I, no stopping or parking near hazardous or congested places, that was in the old one on page 3. But then starting with J, parking of oversized vehicles, recreation vehicle trailer parking, going into page 4, all the way through M, that's new language.
And I guess and I'm certainly can stand corrected on this, regarding the parking of oversized vehicles. When I first got on council, this ordinance was being revised at the time because of some issues with commercial vehicles being parked in residential areas and the compressors being running for refrigerator trucks and such that were being very disruptive in residential neighborhoods. And so there was language put in the ordinance at that time to address that issue so that we weren't parking commercial vehicles in residential areas. So the language in J is pared down language that still addresses that issue but isn't quite specific to what is in our existing ordinance. So,
Well, and I know the issue, it was a reefer. The reefer was running for about 3 or 4 days, and I don't blame the people, I would have been angry too. But the way to handle that is to put it basically, that we have a noise ordinance in place. So if the officer would just use the noise ordinance, they could have shut them down right there on that. So I mean, if we even added just a reefer ordinance on the oversized vehicle parking, I mean, that would address the noise issue that brought all this to the light, I guess.
But also, when you have a large vehicle like that, if you don't put some sort of limitation, I wouldn't want a semi parking and obstructing my block full time.
Well, I didn't say it full time, just like overnight, 24 hours or something.
Hey, Deb, you realize a trailer on a semi is about 40 foot?
Right.
Some of those big campers and stuff are 40 foot.
Well, I wouldn't want
You
them
want
there
those in front of
either.
your house?
No,
Well, you're putting provision in there for it.
well, not full time.
Well, no one's asking for a truck to park for full time either, just give them a 24-hour, 24 hours or 5 days, I don't know, anything. I know the problematic person actually is parking that truck at a motel now whenever he comes to town.
officer take a look at it and make sure that after 24 hours they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. I mean, that would make sense, right?
Sure. I don't think for the most part we have that big of a problem. I think the council's made it more of a problem than anything. That's just me, of course.
Well, you and I are both driving out in public anyway. We see all this. I mean, I have to agree with you on that in a way, Wes, because I don't see much of a problem with that in the first place.
I know I've had some people talk to me about it. They said, you know, I've never seen a town where they were so truck unfriendly. I mean, basically what your ordinance is saying is we want you to unload your stuff and get out. But don't dare park on our street and go to a store and shop.
Well, what would be a good idea would to maybe add like a 48-hour limit so they could be here for the weekend,
I think
or
so.
72 hours for a
72 hours.
weekend.
3 days.
Yeah,
It's a 3-day
72
weekend.
hours, so that it's not a full-time deal, but they're here for a weekend, or part of the week, or whatever.
I would agree to that.
Would you still include the language that reefer trucks would not be allowed? That 72-hour period or whatever you're suggesting?
Yep. I'd have in there, they can't run a reefer for their stay here.
Or they have to comply with noise ordinances.
We're gonna have to look at every car that drives up and down the street then. None of them have mufflers, so they're noisy. That's all right.
Well, most guys, for the most part, that drive a truck, that run a reefer, they're conscious about that. And this particular gentleman, I talked to his brother about it, and he was about half belligerent about it. I said, well, and this is why these rules are made. So, you know, there's provisions, I mean, we can,
Okay, that to the oversized load, oversized vehicle, and still do the first reading tonight.
Yeah, that was going to be my question, is if we add that statement, can we still consider this a first reading, or is that insignificant enough change that we can still consider this a first reading, Garland?
I'm not Garland, but if we add it during the first reading, we should be okay. It's a big change between the first and the second. But I thought I heard two suggestions. One, add a 72-hour limit to the parking of oversized vehicles, and then something about reefer trucks not being allowed.
well, just not allow them to run a reefer.
That they must be
Well, the way that
following
I-
the noise
72 hours,
The
ordinances.
way that I took it is no more than 72 hours and in compliance with the noise ordinance.
Right.
I do clean up.
Any other concerns?
Did you notice that there's no overnight parking allowed in any parks? That's different than what we currently do, and will impact probably the Centennial Park parking the most.
I think we got a new campground coming to town, if it ever gets built. I see a new road and everything. It'd be hard for the city to allow free parking when he's trying to make a living off it. That's just my opinion.
I thought we promoted people utilizing that parking area who had campers as far as being able to pull in there and
Problem with that is they're doing it on weekends, they're using free electricity and stuff, and the city makes nothing on it. It's costing us to have them do it.
oh, they're using the electricity?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was turned off.
Nope.
No,
I think currently there's an actual sign there that says no overnight parking too.
okay.
Either way, few years back, the council was kind of lenient about that, and I don't remember where it ever ended, I don't.
Well, this was already in the ordinance, we didn't change that. So it must have been in
We
the
must have
ordinance.
just turned a blind eye.
Well, allowing overnight parking at Centennial Park in particular can be troublesome with the mortuary and the church there. You end up with a bunch of campers parked in there on Sunday morning or during a funeral. Parking is going to be limited. Misty's been making notes. Are there any other suggested changes for the first reading? Wes, are you happy with the changes that's been discussed?
Yeah, I'm happy.
Everybody else? All right, any further discussion? Misty, would you call the roll, please?
Wes Grimes,
Yes.
J.R. Huddleston,
Yes.
Deborah Johnston,
Yes.
Bill Lukens,
Yes.
Larry Pratt,
Yes.
Craig Romy,
Yeah,
Caitlin Turner.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Woo-hoo. We're moving on. All right, new business item A. Possible motion discussion to authorize the maintenance superintendent to hire WH fencing to remove and replace the perimeter fence of the maintenance shop. Can I get a motion on that, please?
I'll make a motion to authorize the maintenance superintendent to hire WH fencing to remove and replace the perimeter fence at the maintenance shop at a cost of $6,034 in order to maintain compliance with the Departmental of Environmental and Natural Resource Permit Solid Waste Budget 612 to be supplemented with future appropriation ordinance.
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a question about additional things that were clipped to this informationally, as far as is WH fencing got approved, licensure and whatnot. That was a potential question, whether they were properly licensed with the state.
No, I don't think all that was supposed to be.
Oops.
But just what you need to know. I think we're talking about that.
Yeah, just the first 3 pages. But I did share with John that attorney's opinion that's from November 8th and the search from the Secretary of State's website for the measure. And there is no record found for the business. Means they're not licensed state level.
I guess, do they need to be licensed at state level? Why would they need to?
If there's any warranty issued, we've had issues before with businesses performing work on behalf of the city that was supposed to be warranted, and we could not get that satisfaction from that because they left and they never were licensed. So Garland gave us an opinion regarding searching businesses and just using more due diligence when hiring firms that are licensed in the state.
I know that this is a firm out of Edgemont. I know they've been around for a long time. I guess maybe we should ask for some former clients' opinion.
Any other questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. New business item B, a possible motion and discussion to authorize the mayor to sign a fitness passport service agreement between Evans Punch Mineral Springs and Optum Healthcare Solutions.
I'll make a motion to pass, to authorize the mayor to sign the fitness passport service agreement between Evans Plunge Mineral Springs and Optimum Healthcare Solutions LLC.
Second motion.
Misty handed out to everyone an explanation from Chris Hansen about this particular program and why she feels it's benefit for the city to go with these folks over our existing plan. Give you a chance to read that email, see if you have any comments. My take on this is Chris is asking you folks to approve replacing an existing supplemental insurance program the city currently has, going with the new folks, be advantageous as far as the amounts. The current plan pays $3 a visit for up to 10 visits a month. The new plan would pay $10 a visit for up to 5 visits a month. Current single membership is $42, so the new plan would be over that current single membership. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Misty, that brings us to your finance officer report.
Thank you. So at the last meeting, we talked about the solid waste fund having more expenses than revenues year to date. And I mistakenly said that was the brush pile because I'm so used to putting everything in the solid waste fund on the brush pile. But then in this council agenda, we asked you to approve a new fence that's going to be supplementally appropriated to the solid waste budget. So I wanted to clarify the 4 things that resulted in the end of September loss in the solid waste fund. The first was $8,000 in new totes, garbage cans this year. There's a $10,000 transfer out this year to the general fund that was new in the budget, and that's going to continue next year. We did pay an employee to watch the brush pile fire. And then our September utility batch had not yet posted. So the new updated year-to-date balance is a gain in the solid waste fund of $17,448. We did receive in the finance office notice of the 2021 minimum wage increase. It's going from $9.30 to $9.45 January 1. We budgeted a 30-cent increase, and it only increased 15 cents, so we are prepared for that increase. We will pass resolutions in the first meeting of January for those increases in our employees' wages. We did get the first draft of the ordinance updates from American Legal. They are available for the 5 of us that have binders. They updated through Ordinance 1213, which was May 2020. The ones that still require updates that we've already approved start at 1215, Title IX General Regulations, where we changed parks and recs and hot air balloons and hobby rockets and updated to the new fire code. Also, the nuisance ordinance, the declaration of emergency and the vacant structure changes, and Ordinance 1217, revising Title V Public Works for disputed water bills. And then, obviously, the one that just passed the first reading tonight. We'll wait a few months before we request American Legal to do another update. So it does have a disclaimer at the beginning of the page that shows all our ordinances, what date it's updated through. So if you go online and look, or you direct someone to ask some questions, know that we've made updates to those ordinances that have not been updated on the website yet. The only other update I have is regarding the CRF money at the state. We have submitted requests for reimbursements and have been authorized payment for $325,057.48 year-to-date. Out of the total amount allocated to the city of Hot Springs, we still have $466,659.52 left. And we've been discussing the different expenses that are reimbursable. If you have any questions about any of those items or our plans to make sure that we request the entire amount that's allocated to the city, please let me know. So like that.
Thank you, Misty. John, your city administrator report?
Good evening. Well, in addition to ordinance revisions, chasing nuisance complaints, and committee meetings, we've had the city project, which includes the suspended sidewalk and utilities. ISG, our consultant, and our public works engineer have submitted the preliminary drawings that are required by the DOT for their review. We also received the first comprehensive cost analysis of the suspended sidewalk as designed for cost of construction. It's approximately $2.7 million at this point, including all engineering and design fees, and that includes a 10% contingency. The Jennings Bridge replacement project, the concrete deck girders are installed now. They're installing the false work for the deck pours, which are scheduled to begin October 30th. We have done some work with some power demand and efficiency evaluations with Black Hills Energy. 4 facilities were checked, and that's the Mueller Center, the wastewater treatment plant, the city shop, and the police department. It does appear that there may be some potential cost savings as we move forward based on the data mining that Black Hills Energy did. Those would effectively influence the cost we're paying for the Mueller Center and the wastewater treatment plant. There did not seem to be an improvement we could gain at the city shop or the police department. We've got a meeting Wednesday to discuss that further with Black Hills Energy. Our RFP for the Armory property, we've had our public notices, and we've had 4 inquiries responding to the Armory property, potential responders to the Armory property RFP. Our streets, maintenance, and parks, and now combined utilities departments have been working on the street preparations for the asphalt patching, which is scheduled to begin tomorrow. That's been a combined effort out of all the departments. Parks began winterizing the parks and the park assets, including dewatering the bathrooms, the depot, the fountain, and the irrigation system. They were tied up for nearly a week cleaning up and fence repairs from our cross-country drive we're going to in through Butler Park. Our maintenance equipment repairs have included getting ready for the snow season, getting all of our snow plows and dump trucks ready to go, and also collecting the quotes for the landfill boundary fence that you just approved. Our utilities department continues their DNR inspection recommendations, improvements, which will include a cost analysis for the next phase of equipment upgrades. The biggest, it appears, is going to be your lid on the digester. We're pursuing a Fema hazard mitigation grant. It just began this last month, the end of last month, and it's got a window through January 29th of next year. Shedco and the Black Hills Council of Local Governments is assisting us in applying for those grants, and they include an emergency generator at the Hot Brook pump station, which is critical, and a second emergency generator at the wastewater treatment plant. Internally, our department heads have been discussing and refocusing on COVID-19 precautions. Everything seemed to be going real well, and all of a sudden it looks like we've got some community spread going, so we wanted to revisit that, go back through the rules of distancing, masks, hygiene, cleaning and disinfecting intervals, and policy rules, which include quarantine. As Larry had said, Evans Plunge It has the biggest impact on having to do the cleaning and things for the COVID-related. Has agreed to do on a trial reopening of the hot tubs for restricted use. They're not going to open up the steam room and the sauna at this time, but it will be discussed at the next meeting again. We've had several discussions with the DOT regarding the Highway 18-385 reconstruction. The project letting schedule is tentatively going to be moved to April. Had several calls, everybody requesting what is the project sequencing. Well, we've been given several different options that they may choose. They may go north to south, they may go south to north, they may go middle outward, but it is undecided at this time. I repeat, it is currently undecided. We were hopeful that they may break the project into two sections, which would be the south portion from Minnetonka back to Taco John's, and the north section being from Minnetonka out Battle Mountain Road. The West Oak building is a concern with the DOT at this point because it would interfere with the bid letting, so that condition is being evaluated now. Public interest items, we have free library computer classes in November. It's 5 segments of classes, and we're also continuing with youth learning. Evans Plunge has their October special for membership. If you buy 1 year, you get an extra month free. And everybody's getting ready for Christmas lighting and our Christmas parade, which is December 4th.
Thank you, John. Well, you stole most of the items off of my list to talk with the council about. I would like to talk a little bit about an item that Craig brought up during his report, and that's the street in front of Evans Plunge. Everyone knows that it's in severe need of repair, and in one of our last conversations with the state, it came up that possibly that particular section of the street could be included in the state highway project, not the project itself, but if the city was able to fund that section, that we could possibly take advantage of reduced mobilization costs and reduced cost on materials to get that road taken care of. So we're at least beginning to have those conversations about what's possible to get the road in front of Evans Plunge taken care of. Regardless of how it happens or when it happens, the first necessary thing is to actually get some core samples along the road from 385 up to Colebrook Avenue and see what's going on with the ground underneath there. So John has reached out to some firms to give us some quotes about getting those bore samples taken care of. So once we get a handle on those, we'll be putting that cost in front of the council and seeing if we can get you to approve at least getting those preliminary engineering studies done to see what's going on there that would then help with the design of the road. So we'll keep updating you on that, but there may be an opportunity in front of us to get that taken care of. So with that, I need a motion to go into executive session, please, for South Dakota Codified Law 1-25-2-3, legal.
I make a motion we go into executive session in accordance with South Dakota Codified Law 1-25-2-3, legal.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes, and there will not be any action taken after executive session is over.
Good evening.
Tell Larry we said goodbye. Without getting his autograph. We didn't get Larry's autograph.
Well, you wanted to take him home.
Oh, and you made copies for me?
Which side is it? On the downhill side? Oh, so as you go down, okay.
Safety lines, if we use people in snow, people are trying to make a run up there, people are sliding down.
So on the right hand going down.
On the left hand, it's rolling down. There's the two red trucks.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Joe.
Thank you. I don't know, I was going to ask somebody. I heard that, but. It's warmer over here. Carl, how come you won't turn the heat on over there for us?
We need a new heater.
Thank you.
It's cold in there.
One
I
has to
don't care what the
other
other
one
says
works.
about it.
Yeah, we can do that.
Oh, because that's on, it's on cool, and it's at 62, so if you fix that. I thought it still had to so it.
We got water now.
We got everybody back? Need a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, stay.
Opposed, run you over.